So guys, today I'm going to be telling you how I started working as a doctor in the Moscow region. But before we do that, let me go and show you the most amazing view in the city I currently live in the South Moscow region. So I'm going to be making this video where you guys look at this beautiful scene. That was an idea when I got a camera that can film, like, this dual mode. You can film me and film what is in the background, which is amazing. I don't know who thought about this technology, but it's literally amazing. So as most of you guys know, I graduated last year and I've not made a video for the last 8 months because the last video I made was about the accreditation, which you guys are going to need if you want to practice medicine in Russia generally, not just Moscow. So let me not waste your time and jump straight to the requirements that you are going to need. So for me, the most important requirement is the Russian language, because even if you manage to somehow pass the accreditation or you have a degree from the Russian Medical University, or you get the other requirements, if you don't know how to speak Russian properly with your patients, then that is not going to work for you, because all your patients, about 98% of your patients are going to be speaking Russian language. There is a little percentage of about 2% that comes to the hospital once in a while, and they're excited to see you because they can speak English and they want to practice your English with you, to practice their English with you. Sorry, you guys have not made a video for a very long time and I'm cranky right now. Alright, so the number 2 requirement is obviously the license or the accreditation, basically. So if you studied medicine in Russia, you still need to sit for the accreditation, which, like I said in my last video, contains about 3 steps. And for those of you that want to sit for the accreditation, I already posted the link in my last video. You can just go back to my last video and then check for the link, and you get all the study materials that you need. And thirdly, before I thought you could only practice medicine in Russia if you had like the permanent residency, but I found that not to be true. There are colleagues of mine that practice with their student visas before they were even converted to the temporary residency. And then I found out that there are some certain hospitals that can give you a work visa for you to come into Russia and practice medicine. Because some hospitals are experiencing deficit of specialists, they can go to the government, i.e. the immigration service, and give and send an invitation to specialists. Like I said, the most important requirement is that you have to know how to speak proper Russian language. You come into the country, you sit for the license, which takes around 3-4 days. You pass. That is if you're studying for it, of course, not just like you come study for it in 3-4 days and pass. It's not like that easy. It's easy, but not that easy. If you studied in the Russian system, for you it's going to be easy because the questions they are going to be asking you are going to be from the Russian syllabus. But if you're coming outside, like you had a different syllabus, like you are from India or Africa or any of these countries, it's not going to be easy for you, because you're going to need time to adapt to the Russian phrasing of questions and all that. 3 requirements is that you need Russian language, which is number 1. You need accreditation, which I in my last video I told you guys concisely how to get. And the 3rd requirement is that you need a work permit or a visa or permanent residence or temporary residence. It doesn't matter, as long as the documents or visa or whatever you are on permits you to work in a particular region which you're working, then that is not a problem. But as far as I know that if you have a temporary residency, then you are only allowed to work in the region which you got the temporary residency from. For example, I had a temporary residency from Dagestan, where my last medical university, in Makashkala. So I was only allowed by law to work in Makashkala and Dagestan. I later graduated with my temporary residency, and I couldn't get my permanent residency from Makashkala, so I traveled to Krasnodar and applied because I had a degree with honors, and that allowed me to be able to apply, even though Dagestan refused to give me my permanent residency for reasons best known to them, which I cannot explain to you today. But I was lucky enough to graduate with honors, so the red diploma, which they call it. So I traveled to Krasnodar, I applied there, and I got my permanent residency. So the permanent residency basically allows you to live and work anywhere in the country. You can work anywhere in the country, but you're almost a citizen, but not a citizen. You are a citizen of the country, but without the political rights. You can live in the country, work in the country, pay your taxes, enjoy the advantages of being in the country, but you cannot take part in the politics of the country. You are just a resident of the country. Alright, so I've been working as a therapist or a general practitioner in the Moscow sub-region right now for the last 6 months. And my responsibilities are kind of easy because I do outpatient care. I don't do hospital care where I have to take care of difficult patients. Of course, my work is not different from general practitioners around the world. I look at the patient, I diagnose them, and I decide which specialist they need. the patient comes to you with a GI problem, you as a doctor, you're supposed to figure out that this problem is most likely from the GI, and then you send them for the necessary tests so that you reduce the work of the specialist, and then you refer them to a specialist. And then you have to do a lot of documentation. So you give sick leaves, you determine patients that are able to work and not being able to work, which is like the most conflicting part of the job. So I work about 8 hours every day. I start working about around 8 a.m. in the morning, and I finish my work around 4 p.m. like every normal human being. So I'm allowed about 42 days of vacation, paid vacation in a year, and I can also take my own vacations. I can take my leaves if I want, but those are going to be unpaid. In another video, I'm going to be telling you guys exactly how much doctors collect in at least the place I'm working, or like generally in the Moscow region. I'm going to be telling you the averages of what each doctor makes. I lost my WhatsApp, I lost my contacts because of a lot happened between my graduation and today, which I cannot even say in this video. Because guys, just stay in school, don't graduate, because out here is very difficult. If you think graduating is the best thing that can happen to you, well, maybe not. But I lost all my contacts. So for people that have been messaging me on WhatsApp, which I lost my WhatsApp. For people that have been messaging me on WhatsApp or emailing me and have not been responding, please email me again if you have any questions, and I'm going to answer you. And please, another thing again is that I am not into student processing anymore, because that has given me enough headache in my life that I never want to be involved in it again. Guys, if you need advice about a particular university, feel free to email me and I'm going to help you. But please don't come to me asking me if I am going to help you to process the admission, because if things go wrong, which sometimes they do, which I learned the hard way last year when I went, long story, then I am going to take the responsibility, and that is going to complicate my life more. And all that. The money is great because people who do admissions, they get paid for it. But as long as I see some level of dishonesty in any business, I don't want to be involved in, because I myself was a victim of this dishonesty that gave me a very difficult life in med school. So I don't want any other person, I don't have the conscience to subject any other person to the same thing. And if I'm involved in this business one way or the other, I'm aiding this same system I'm trying to change. Like Peter Obi from my country says. What am I doing in my life right now? Well, I am working and I'm studying for my usmle and other exams. I was studying for it before I graduated, but after I graduated, there was a travel ban, which of course discouraged everybody, and most of us that were studying at the time forgot most of what we were studying. So I'm studying for the usmle step 1. I hope to pass the exam as soon as possible, sit for the step 2, and hopefully get my residency, my specialty, in the US, and pursue my dream specialty, which I'm not going to say, because if I don't get it at the end, you guys are going to be looking at me with pitiful eyes like, he said he wanted neurosurgery and he ended up in family medicine, which is not bad. I'm not trying to say family medicine is not like this. Some people choose to do outpatient care, which is fine, and I can see that, especially now that I'm working outpatient myself. If you have any questions about how to also study for the usmle, don't ask me. You can contact me for study materials, which I'm going to advise you on which ones to use. But it's not like I've passed the exam, so I'm not in the best position to explain to anybody or advise anybody on what to do and what not to do. You can ask me advice about graduating, so I can tell you how to study and graduate properly from a med school, which I'm going to make a video one day to tell you what I should and shouldn't have done. Alright, so to summarize everything, to work as a doctor in Moscow, you need to have a residence permit or a work permit. You need to know the Russian language properly, and you also need to pass the license examination. So after you do those things, you are golden. You simply apply to any hospital of your choosing. There are thousands of hospitals in Russia, mostly Moscow. You go on their websites, you call them, hey, my name is this, I'm a doctor, I would like to work with you guys. They'll ask you your qualifications, and if they see that you're qualified enough, they just start processing your papers, and you can start working. You do your medicals, and in 1 month you sign your agreements, and you get into the hospital. All right, so I see about 39 to 40 patients a day. That is what I'm supposed to see every day. Okay, I'm not supposed to talk about patients, so